Welcome to this video tutorial on building a ghost image with CREO. What we're going to be working on today is building this image here, which I'm just going to bring up for you on the screen, our ghost image. I'll just bring that across so you can see it in full. So we're going to be drawing this object here, and what we're going to have is a number of lines and angles running through the screen, which are going to be 40 apart with a total distance of 160. And they have a height of 80. Then we're going to draw our outer shape as a square box and a circle over the top with our two ellipse circles. Our extrusion or our depth will be 30 millimeters and the edges will be rounded 15. So the rounding is half of the extrusion, which gives us a nice arc that we're looking for on our ghost. So begin by going File, New, calling that Ghost. I may have done this in the past, so I'll just call this Ghost 2. We're going to be putting that on our front view, going Extrude. Now, our start of the lines, we're going to be using the Line tool. So click on the Line tool at the top, so make sure it's on Sketch on Line. Clicking on where our reference line and origin point is, so right in the middle. So click, go up, so somewhere up in the middle there. Come down. We're going to go up again. Now, as we just keep clicking, if you move this around, you'll get to a point where you get these two L's and the two lines that are beside it. So L meaning it's the same length, the two lines meaning it's parallel. So click, come down, and we're going to repeat. So the length will obviously be the same because we're on our origin. We're looking for that parallel line symbol. So we click, and we continue the process going up, moving and looking for those to come up. Again, there, and coming down and click. You can middle scroll click off or click on the select button to remove that line. Now we need to deal with a lot of measurements on the screen. Now our distance between these 2 points we're looking for is 40 with a total length of 160. Of course, now that they're all parallel, once we set this to 40, these will automatically become 160 in length. So to get our lengths, we click on the normal tool, click on this point, that point, and middle scroll click. And our width, as you remember, was 40. Once we've done that, our total distance, now that these are all parallel, will be 160. And we're also looking for the height from this point to our origin point, which coincidentally is 80. So if it is not 80, once you've clicked on that, change it to 80. We're in luck because it's actually the measurement that we were looking for. We're going to be going, I'll just zoom in a little bit. There we go, just so we can see a little bit better. So lots of parallel lines. We've got our width 40, so we know this is 160. If I do this and click here and here, just to show you that, middle scroll click, we can see it's telling us it's already 160, but of course it doesn't like that because we already have a measurement of 40 and it's saying, well, what are you asking me that twice for? You already know what the width of this object is. So I'll just delete it. I'll undo it. Actually, we don't need to do that. What we're then going to do is use the Line tool. We're going to click on our point where our reference line and our origin meet. Click, go up, come across, stop where it meets the bottom point there. You can see it's indicated by the icons at the bottom. And then come all the way down and let it lock in. Click, middle scroll click, or click the select button to deselect that. Now we have a couple of measurements we need to do. I'll bring that back so you can see. So looking at our ghost, we can see our total height is 200, or it's 80 plus 120. So let's just quickly adjust that. So we have that, clicking on our mouse. It's already given us our measurement. Double click and we'll change that to 200. And that extends it up a little bit. The next part is a little bit of a fun part. We're going to use the circle tool. So what we can do is click on the circle tool and go across this line here. What we're looking for is that M symbol to come up, which indicates that's the middle point of that line. So I click, sorry, I'll do that again. I click on that point, drag out. Those 2 points at one point will lock in. You'll see the green circle come up on the left, which gives me a perfect circle from which to work on. Once you've done that, click. And we're going to use the delete segment tool. So clicking on that, we're going to just remove these two lines. click back on our select tool, you'll start to see, if I bring the go symbol back, you'll start to see the basic remnants of what our ghost actually looks like. So the next part involves us removing some material from our actual piece of work. To do that, what we're going to do is we're going to draw two elliptical circles, which is this point here. So this we have to pay a little bit of careful measurement to. Now we know we had a line going through here, we've got that there, we're quite lucky to actually have that. So what we're going to do is use our ellipse tool, clicking on this point here where we get our line, and we want to draw a circle. Now obviously I've got this totally wrong, so I need to make some adjustments in a moment. I'll click that and click off. Click back to my select tool. Now, oh, don't do that. Control Z or Command Z on the Mac if you actually do that. I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see what's happening on the screen. So, bringing that back in, I'll need to bring my drawing back so you can see this sort of side by side. So it says our distance from the side is 50 and currently it's 36.6. We obviously need to make this go up a lot higher, and our middle point that we're actually looking for is exactly 200. So we want this point here to be up here. So we're going to need to make some adjustments. So first thing is, can't quite see it, our elliptical circle has a total length of 70. So let's adjust that to 70. Let's do a few of these numbers. So 70. We're going to bring that in 50 from here, which is starting to look a little bit better in our shape. Oh, wrong one. I'll bring that back in again. We're then looking for a total width of 30. So we need to double click on this, change this to 30. And what we then obviously need to do is we need to change our distance. So it would be great if we could just click and move this point, but that's obviously not going to do because we've locked it into the line at the start. So what we need to do is we need to actually move this particular point away from that. Now the only lines that we have that are really going to be relevant and useful to us are those, is probably from the bottom of this to this point here, or from the middle of that to that point there, which was on our other object. So let me just click on that and use that tool. I'm going to bring this back so you can see what I'm talking about. So when we click on those two measurements, we knew that this was 120 above that point. So we need to move this to 120. So it's telling us, hey, we've got a problem here. You've got all these competing measurements and I don't know what to actually do. So what we're going to do is we want to keep the 85 because that's relevant to us. The 200 height is correct and the 80 height is correct. So what we're going to do is remove our constraint, which was that tool, and we're going to put in 120. Once we've done that, we've got our first line actually drawn. We're going to draw another one of those straight alongside. So now we've got our point that we're drawing to. Let's go to the top, come down, and make it a little bit easier this time. And if we click on that, you see the L's come up to tell us, hey, you've got the widths the same. And we can now go to our tool, remembering this is 50. And if you're looking, we've actually now got measurements that start to match. We know that the height of this is 70 because we've already locked that in. And we have our widths of 30, our middle point in is 50, and we have our basic shape. All working well, we should now be able to click on the OK button and extrude that. We have our basic ghost symbol actually coming up on the screen. Now our extrusion depth, if you remember, our extrude is 30, so we might as well change that here, double click up here, go 30, and we'll tick that off, and you can now rotate. Because it's a very blockish looking thing, and we need to round some edges. So using the round tool, click on round. Our rounded edges was 15, if you remember that from earlier. And what we need to do is to click on each of our surfaces, one by one. So down the bottom here. So as you're going around, finding it, clicking, clicking. Sorry, let's rotate this a bit so I can get to that. You get to that angle line you've got there. Rotate it around. There. So using the rounding tool, let's try that again. Round 15. I'm going to do side by side. 1. Clicking on that, and that. Each of these points down here, getting on the edge of the line. Tick that off. I'm going to go tick. That's given us the first side of our go. So if we rotate it around, we can do the same to the other side. So round each point, making sure you're clicking on the line. It's really important when that green line comes up. There. Let's rotate this a smidgen. Drawing them all the way through. I think I've got them all. And we have our little ghost symbol that's now drawn. If you like, you could decide to color that in, which is done on our render tool, appearance gallery. So I'd like to give it a nice color. You can obviously go through and select a few colors that you want to use, holding down the shift key as you highlight. Spend a bit of time going through, colouring it in. And your appearance tool, go to red, and that will change it. So remember, as you highlight, you can then come back and give it some colour. So you must highlight it first. Come back, choose a colour that you'd like to use. Make sure it's highlighted like this. Come up and give it a bit of an appearance. So it's just a matter of highlighting first. So once you've highlighted the object, you can then go to the render section, which is up here in the appearance gallery, and give it some colors. Spend a bit of time playing with that. Once you've done that, remember to take a screen snapshot of what you're actually doing so that we can use that as evidence in your folio. Good luck.